All right, so we have our sum and difference formulas, okay? So before lunch, we'll just worry about the cosine ones. All we're going to focus in on is on the cosine ones, so you can kind of learn how to do it. Then after lunch, we'll worry about the sine and the tangent ones, okay? But before lunch, we're just doing the cosine ones. All right, so what is the cosine on your unit circle of 5 pi over 12? Look on your unit circle, find 5 pi over 12. What's the cosine of 5 pi over 12 on your unit circle? Crickets. Chirp. 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 It is a trick question. Is 5 pi over 12 on your unit circle? No. 5 pi over 12 is not on your unit circle, so you cannot find the cosine of 5 pi over 12 just on your unit circle alone. Okay? But we have a sum formula that'll allow us to find the cosine of 5 pi over 12. All right. What adds up to 5? 2 and 3. Thank you for saying 2 and 3 instead of 1 and 4. Okay? So, if we take the cosine of 2 pi over 12 plus 3 pi over 12, that is equal to the cosine of 5 pi over 12, correct? What does 2 pi over 12 reduce down to? Pi over 6. What does 3 pi over 12 reduce down to? Are those two functions on your unit circle? Yes. So the cosine of pi over 6 plus pi over 4 is the same as the cosine of 5 pi over 12. So if we take our sum formula, which is the cosine minus the sine, we just have to fill in the right parts of that. Well, what's A in this case? Well, A is the first thing you're given. So it's the cosine of pi over 6. And then B is the second thing you're given. Pi over 4. Sine of A, sine of B. Now you can look at your unit circle and actually figure these out. What's the cosine of pi over 6 on your unit circle? Square root of 3 over 2. What's cosine of pi over 4? Square root of 2 over 2 minus sine of pi over 6. 1/2. Sine of pi over 4. Square root of 2 over 2. So you get the square root of 6 over 4 minus the square root of 2 over 4, which equals the square root of 6 minus the square root of 2 all over 4, and that is going to be our final answer. So that's what we're going to be doing today in here, is getting to that point. Now, this is our end point. This is where we're heading. And we're going to go incrementally to get there. We're not going to try to do that all right at the start. Okay? So we're going to worry about adding and subtracting fractions first, and then work our way there. But that's where we're going to go. Okay? So, what if we have pi over 6 plus pi over 3? What do those two add up to? Well, to add fractions, you need a common denominator. 1 pi over 6 plus 2 pi over 6 equals 3 pi over 6, which equals pi over 2. Okay? What's 5 pi over 4 minus 5 pi over 6? Well, we need a common denominator. What's our common denominator going to be? 12. So if we multiply this top and bottom by 3, we get 15 pi over 12. This top and bottom by 2, we get 10 pi over 12. So we get 5 pi over 12. Okay? We can add and subtract fractions, right? Now, what I'm wondering is, if you have 7 pi over 12, how do we get that? From numbers that have 6s or 4s or 3s in the denominator. Okay? Because 7 pi over 12 isn't on our unit circle. So you have to find things that either add or subtract to make that. Okay? Well, let's use a little addition to make that. What do you think our common denominator is going to be? Because we're going in reverse order from this. What do you think our common denominator is? I would say it's probably 12. Now, we want to make things reduce. So should we use 1 and 6 to make 7? Because does 1 over 12 reduce? No. And do you see a 1 over 12 on your unit circle? Pi over 12? No. So we shouldn't use 1 and 12. So if I look at 2 and 5, do both of them reduce? No, 5 doesn't reduce. That one can't use. What other ones numbers add up to 7? 3 and 4. Do each of those reduce? Yes, if you have both of them reduce, that's what you want to use. So you get pi over 4 plus pi over 3. Makes 7 pi over 12. How do you get negative pi over 12? Negative pi over 12. How are we supposed to get down to a negative pi over 12? Well, how do you get to a negative number? Like negative 6. Negative 6 is what minus what? 0 minus 6, 1 minus 7, 2 minus 8. It's always a smaller number minus a bigger number, right? Okay, so if we think that way, how do I get to negative 1? Well, what's my common denominator going to be? 12. What two numbers are 1 apart that can be reduced? 3 and 4. So pi over 4 minus pi over 3 is actually negative pi over 12 in the end. Okay? Let's do one more. Let's do 13 pi over 12. Now you could add or you could subtract. Oh, this should be a subtraction sign, not an addition sign. You could either add or subtract to get here. What do you think with 13? Probably should add. Yeah. So obviously 12 and 1 won't work. 11 and 2 work? No, because you can't reduce 11 over 12. Then what else do we have? 3 and 10? Will 3 and 10 work? Uh-huh. 3 and 10 does work. So 3 pi over 12 plus 10 pi over 12 equals, what's 3 pi over 12? Pi over 4. It's only listed everywhere right there for those of you who didn't answer. Plus 10 pi over 12 is 5 pi over 6. Okay. So you should be able to work your way into figuring out what adds or subtracts to make this work. Okay. So, if we have degrees, what units of degrees are on your unit circle that make 75? 30 plus 45. Ooh, that was pretty tough. Okay. What things are on your unit circle that make 195 degrees? Don't even worry about the pies. I want just degrees, plain degrees on this one. 45 and 150. Okay. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, right? When you have degrees. It's where people get stuck a little bit more is when you have, you know, the radians. Okay. So let's figure out this one. Let's find the cosine of negative 5 pi over 12. Okay. So we're going to do it all the way through now, just like we started with right here. We did this one all the way through. Now we're going to do this one all the way through. Okay, cosine of 5 pi over 12. To do that, we need to figure out what two things add up to be 5 pi over 12, the negative 5 pi over 12, or subtract to be a negative 5 pi over 12. What minus what is a negative 5? Because we will probably want a 12 as our denominator. And I know 0 minus 5 works, but can you have a negative 5? Is 5 pi over 12 on here? No. 1 and 6 doesn't work because you can't have 1 pi over 12. 2 and 7 doesn't work because you can't have a 7 pi over 12. 3 and 8. That will work. Because that is the cosine of pi over 4 minus 2 pi over 3. And those are both on the unit circle. So then we go cosine, cosine, plus sine, sine. So the cosine of pi over 4, cosine of 2 pi over 3, sine of pi over 4, sine of 2 pi over 3. What's the cosine of pi over 4? Unit circle, people. Come on. Cosine of pi over 4. Square root 2 over 2. What's cosine of 2 pi over 3? Negative 1/2. Plus sine of pi over 4. Square root 2 over 2. Sine of 2 pi over 3. Square root 3 over 2. So it's negative square root of 2 over 4 plus square root of 6 over 4, which in the end is negative square root of 2 plus square root of 6 all over 4. Every one of your answers will look like this. We're adding and subtracting the square root of 2 and the square root of 6 over 4. Where we're adding and subtracting square root of 6 and square root of 2 over 4. Somehow we're going to manipulate that. Okay? So, on page number 179, we're going to do 3 through 29, the odds. Okay? On 3, 5, 7, and 9, you're just adding or subtracting. On 11, 13, 15, and 17, you're just finding the two numbers on the unit circle that add or subtract to it. You don't have to do the whole cosine all the problem all the way out. It's just 19 through 29 that you have to do what we did just at the end here. Okay? So get to work. You have, we are second bell? Oh, what are we today?